spoilers? Oh, lots and lots of spoilers. Cars! We name them, we feed them, we maintain them, and what do they do for us? Well, they get us where we're going, they involve us in dangerous spy missions, and make us look foolish on international TV. That must be why we love them so. And with facts like this, we can totally understand why Pixar, the subject of our current series, The Pix of Pixar, wink, would want to make not one, but 3 movies about them. Welcome to Max Mike Movies' take on the second in this franchise, Cars 2. Well named, don't you think, Max?
Yes, very, very much.
Yeah. Well, we've looked at the best, and now we have this.
Yes, we're looking at something else.
Yes, I'd never seen it. Max had. But
I
who
had.
are we anyway? Well, that over there is the little deuce coupe of the motorway, Max Shifty Levine, and I...
Hey, you don't know what I got.
I am the Make Mine Mach 5 Mike Loose. Before we wave that green flag, though, we have a little business to take care of. Vroom, vroom. So, hey, social media. We're on the Facebook. We're not on the TikTok. We're probably never going to be on the TikTok.
We're totally going to do the Max Mike movie dance, and it will sweep the nation.
Does that
sweep
happen? Sweep the leg, Johnny. We're on social media, Facebook, and we're on Twitter, both places, Max Mike Movies. We're on the podcast app of your choice. I'm sure you can guess the name of our podcast. If you can't, I don't know how you're here. You can go to our website to get every episode individually priced reasonably at $0. All 113 previous episodes plus specials and whatever. That is at maxmikemovies.com. And hey, you know you want to email us. You know you do. Email us. Give us suggestions. Call us names. Poke fun at our choice of tutu, whatever. Email us at maxmikemovies.com. And hey, if you happen to be on one of those little podcast apps, give us a rating. It'd make us feel so warm and pudding-like.
Really, this is the entire source of our self-esteem.
And our income.
That's right. We are raking in the internet bucks, which we then can spend at Internet Bank buying internet food.
Is that like Max Mike Movie Coin? Do we have that?
Exactly. Yes. We have our own blockhead chain.
What's a blockhead chain?
That's a blockchain. It's something part of cryptocurrency.
Isn't that the thing that Superman can't get near?
No, that's where he's from, silly boy. He's from crypto. He's from cryptocurrency, or maybe that was just the money his dog used. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's right. Crypto was the dog.
Yeah.
And Streaky was the cat, and Comet was the horse. And anyway,
Beppo was the monkey.
Yeah. Hey, Max, I wonder if it's worth mentioning Rogue Warfare 3. We haven't mentioned that in a while. I think it's still a thing.
I think it may actually almost exist. Right. So if you happen to see it near you, remember, we told you about it.
Yes, which, even though we didn't respond to those nice people, that Rogue Warfare 3, it's happening.
It is.
In a place.
See, and we're doing that for free.
Yeah. So, Rogue Warfare 3, right, it's still a thing, somewhere. That's their tagline. It's still a thing, somewhere. Catch it.
I tell you what, maybe if we actually find it, maybe we'll actually watch it and talk about it.
Maybe we will.
Maybe. That'll show them.
Marketing works. I think it's actually just a taunt to make them listen to our podcast.
I think so.
So anyway, Cars 2.
Trivia, yes?
There is trivia. The show.
Good.
A total flop. This $200 million budgeted film only made $562 million for its poor, sad investors.
This is a flop?
To be fair, this is a bit short of that magic 3 times budget that they're hoping for, but I don't really think we need to cry. Did you cry? Am I crying?
I'm crying right now. I'm not crying, you're crying!
Hold it back. 3 of the voice actors from the first film, Cars, died between the first and this film. I wonder if it's because they didn't want... No. Paul Newman, George Carlin, and Joe Ranft, who played, I believe, Red the Fire Truck.
Oh, really? Because Red has like 2 lines. I forgot that he even had a voice.
Yes! Of the three, only one does not appear at all, and that's Doc Hudson, who was played by Paul Newman. They decided, out of respect for Paul Newman, his character would not even show up on screen. They mention him.
But they do, in effect, they integrate his death with the implication. I don't know exactly how cars die or if they bury them, but
only one of the three had any lines, and that was, in fact, Red the Fire Truck, and he was voiced by someone else. Pizza Planet, a fake franchise that appeared in the Toy Story movies, has its truck established as a trademark by now, and it's in here twice. So look for the Pizza Planet truck in every Pixar movie you watch. I don't know how it makes it into Brave, but we may find out.
Maybe it's like Ye Olde Pizza Wagon.
Probably.
Or, of course, if it's Pizza Planet, I guess it would be Pizza Island or some such.
Yeah, Kingdom. This is the first Pixar movie that was not nominated for Best Animated Feature Award or any other Academy Award. Uh-oh. Yeah. In a bit of foreshadowing, there are car versions of some of the characters of Pixar's next feature, Brave, in posters in a pub in this film. I didn't catch them, so I don't know how that works either.
I didn't either. Huh.
But yeah, car versions of Brave, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah.
Okay.
We get another Easter egg. We get tons of them, but they're whatever. There's a restaurant in this film called Gas Toes, spelled Gastows, which is a play, on Gusto's, the restaurant from Ratatouille.
Oh, boy.
Get it? Gas Toes.
Oh, my sides.
In a bit of a spoiler here, this is the first Pixar movie to get an actual rotten rating on that side of the spoiled fruit, which I believe means that it gets lower than a 50%. You can correct me on that.
I think that's right. It may be under 45, but I think it's under 50.
Yeah, currently it is at 39. This is the last movie. This is you'll see why I did this in a second. This is the last movie that John Lasseter has directed so far. We'll probably mention Mr. Lasseter again, but I wish this is true of all movies, but it is the last Cars movie to include the Wilhelm scream. Hollywood, please, please, please put this thing to rest. I'm looking right at you, Star Wars, right at you. And if, again, as a public safety warning, if you do not know what the Wilhelm scream is, do not look it up. You will be very glad that you didn't. So, because you will never not hear it.
Yeah, this is something that can gladly fade from the consciousness.
I hate it. And I'm sure it's like there's this, I don't know, group of old sound men who are like, we have to work it in, or I don't know, but I really hate it. So please stop doing it. And not much else, really. Did I mention this is a sequel? There. There just wasn't... Yeah. All the trivia was like, hey, did you know this film was shot in this aspect ratio? Wow!
Oh, dear.
Bring the kids. Or the color blue to me. No. But it's just, most of it was just not very interesting. So did you have any trivia that you knew of that pertained to this particular film?
Well, there are an awful lot of odd voice cameos from people actual commentators from the racing world, just as there was in the first movie. What is it? I think Ed Musburger is in it as Ed Mustangburger. And, is it guy Earl Cantrip? Is Earl Cartrip?
Earl Holliman.
Yeah. Then there's a whole bunch of those, which if you don't know the racing world, which I don't, I only knew this because I looked it up, it won't mean anything, but it's actually kind of cute because you have the guys doing the commentating on the car races are the guys who actually do commentating on car races.
Yeah, as I said, there really wasn't very much interesting trivia this
time.
So, whatever. Okay. If you have nothing else, I'll...
Well, the only thing I was curious about was, Michael Caine plays Finn McMissile, the James Bond character.
Yes, he does.
And I at first thought that he was actually an Aston Martin, but he isn't. He's part Aston Martin, part BMW, and part a couple of other things. Part
Volvo P1800, which is actually one of my favorite little sports cars. Yeah, he's an amalgam. Actually, most of the cars, except for the lemons, because I'm guessing is that most of the lemons are from car companies that don't exist anymore, are amalgam. So there's an American agent, and he is part Mustang, part Challenger.
Okay.
So whatever, and I'm sure that was for copyright reasons. Although we do get there's an actual Mustang in there, so whatever. Like Finn McMissile, Speed McQueen or Steve
Lightning McQueen,
whatever. Speed McQueen is obviously just a quote unquote racing car, and the Italian car, whose name I really don't care about, is just a Formula One car. So
the Italian Formula One car, who is basically John Turturro. Playing, it's John Turturro's voice, and he's basically doing okay, let's see, I've done a Jewish guy, I've done Native American, time to do an Italian.
I think he actually is Italian.
Okay.
Hey, at least there's no, it wasn't him with the in Transformers, was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, so at least there's no point where he's hanging under the robots. Never mind, we'll just get on to the plot, shall we? Right, so alone. Plot.
That was the only, plot.
Plot. Lightning McQueen is back! But first, a message from a British spy film going on next door. There's some nefarious deeds going on at an oil drilling field somewhere out in the ocean, and top secret agent Finn McMissile is there trying to find out just what it is. Never! Before he can capture that one piece of stunning evidence, he's bullied by a gremlin and a pacer, plus a bunch of other evil cars. Using all the tricks of Bond and then some, or should I say Bond's car, he manages to escape just in time. Meanwhile, back at Radiator Springs, McQueen is enjoying some downtime with his girlfriend and his best bud, Mater, when an announcement is made that a new organic, non-dead dinosaur-based fuel is going to be showcased in a huge 3-part worldwide Grand Prix. Favored to win is an Italian race car who says that he is the fastest in the world. Mater can't take this, so manages to shove his best buddy into the lineup for this amazing new race that is nothing at all like the one in the last movie. But before we get too far, Mater, who is brought along this time because of stuff and reasons, is confused by McMissile and his protege for an American secret agent who supposedly has the drop on the evil villain, whose name we don't know. It's a race not only of skill and speed, but to see if the good guys can prevail before the horrendous scheme of the evil villain, whose name we still don't know, can bear fruit. Cause all the cars, which are running on this new biofuel, to explode during the race so that everyone will mistrust it and go back to good old gasoline, which is what he owns. Oh, and along the way, Mater learns some very important lessons about not being an idiot, or that it's other people's problems, or something like that. This culminates in explosions, chases, races, and spy stuff. Excitement galore, and 2 pairs of pants.
Yeah.
The lowdown. That's it for the plot.
Okay, that pretty much covers it, yeah.
Yeah. So
I got to ask, first off, just for our listeners, I know the answer, but did you see Cars 1?
No.
I did.
I did look at the plot online. It's like, am I missing anything? I heard it's pretty much Doc Hollywood with wheels. And
yeah, that was the Cars was for me the first kind of disappointing Pixar film until this one. That just because every other Pixar film I saw, I was like, wow, this is so original. This is such a cool take on this. And then Cars came along, and it's like, why does this feel familiar? Oh, this is the Doc Hollywood movie, that one with Michael J. Fox and my close personal friend, Bernard Hughes.
Is that your close personal friend now?
Yeah, excuse me. Yes, he was. Bernard Hughes. His son directed a play at Harvard back when I was, 12. And they came to my middle school, and they picked me and a few of my friends to be actors in it. And on the last night of the show, Bernard Hughes himself showed up and signed my program. So we're friends now. Even though he's dead, and even though I never spoke to him, saw him, or heard of him again.
That's just like the fact that Gene Shalit was at our high school graduations. This is the greatest graduation ever!
Well, he's kind of hard to miss with that hair.
What amazes me is that, I never met the older son, but Andrew Shalit, his son, looked absolutely nothing like him.
Yeah, the older son, Nevin, I knew him. He didn't look like him at all either. Yeah. Oh, the shape of the face was similar, but he did not. He was spared the ridiculous hair.
Well, he did do the nose.
The nose?
And the hat. He's got a wart. Anyway.
Yeah, no, Doc Hollywood, basically about a big shot doctor who ends up in a small town and falls in love with it. It's the same story. Yeah. Lightning McQueen's a big shot piston cup racer.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to be. There's, I'm sure, some famous racing cup who ends up in a small town, gets stuck there because he causes mayhem and has to work it off, falls in love with the town, falls in love with a cute little jaguar. I think she's a jaguar. And ends up loving it and learning the true meaning of friendship and the important things in life and blah. It is very unoriginal, and although not nearly as unoriginal as Cars 2, but I will say this, Cars 1 is beautiful to look at. It's just wonderful ode to the American Southwest and to the old Route 66.
Yeah.
It looks wonderful.
And for those who've never been to Disneyland's California Adventure, they actually have Radiator Springs. Like, that's a whole section of the park, and it's actually really good. Like, it's done exactly like it looks. I had not seen a Cars movie before, so when they get to Radiator Springs in this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah, I know where that is. Oh, that's where the racetrack. Oh yeah, it looks exactly the same, and it's actually very, very cool. So I'll give that a point. Sorry, I had a bug. Yeah. With little wings I ate. But yeah, I don't know if I would say that I would find this plot line as unoriginal or more unoriginal than the first one, because there's more than one. We have kind of four.
Yeah, it's not so much that the plot is unoriginal. It is every theme and every trope in this movie is colossally unoriginal.
Yeah.
I mean, from the whole idiot being mistaken for a spy. Do you know how many there was both a French film and two American remakes of The Tall Blonde Man with One Red Shoe, about an ordinary schlub who is mistaken for being a super agent. I mean, hell, I think this happened on Gilligan's Island once.
Well, there was that one point where he was super agent Gilligan, but...
Yeah, that was like a
Super Agent, Secret Agent 014, that's right, because he's twice as smart as 007. Hey,
but this happens so many places. The whole, wow, he's acting so stupid, he must actually be brilliant. And the whole, the embarrassing best friend, and the power of friendship. I mean, this is practically My Little Pony as an animated pot of noodles. Friendship. Sorry, Patton Oswalt reference there.
Yeah. Well, let's not bash too much too soon.
Yeah.
We want to keep our audience, such as it is, in suspense.
Again, I do have to say, especially with the opening sequence with Finn McMissile, which, let's face it, would have been a better movie.
Yeah.
The animation is astounding, especially the fluid mechanics, the way they make the ocean look.
Mechanics.
It's really good.
Yes, it is. It is a huge leap, especially over last week's. Was it last week's? Toy Story? No.
Toy Story 2, but it's a huge jump over Toy Story 1, but it's even an improvement over Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
But this was 12 years later, so of course they get better every year.
Yeah. And I have to say, I actually like the character of Finn McMissile in that I like the way he looks. I mean, I like Michael Caine in just about anything, even like Jaws 3. Or was that Brian Brown? I can't remember.
No, that was... No, he was in Jaws The Revenge.
Okay.
Which was, I think, Jaws 4.
Yeah, there was another British actor named Brian Brown, and at one point, they looked almost exactly alike, and I couldn't tell who was who. It's sort of the same way that... what's his name? The guy who's not Harrison Ford, but if you can't afford Harrison Ford, you get him. He was in Breaking Away. He played Mike. He's got a brother that nobody can stand. I hate when I can't remember names. It's so
Sorry,
stupid.
I'm blanking. I'm not sure who you mean. But yeah, I do. Yeah, Finn McMissile looks, and of course, it's Michael Caine. Of course, he sounds great.
Yeah.
And because he is, he's played real secret agents. He even parodies that in the Austin Powers movies as, Nigel Powers.
Yeah,
but he's just so damn cool.
And we start off with this film. It really is a James Bond film. Like, that's the idea. We're obviously supposed to think of him as James Bond, the echo of the DB5 that he supposedly is, all the gadgets that he has in him. I do have certain questions, though. So he's on this oil platform, and when they discover him, one of the first things they do is the other cars, the lemons, as it turns out, all go and man the guns. How do cars pull triggers?
Yeah, I was wondering that, too. It's one thing when the guns are built into the cars.
Yeah.
And what? There's even a TV camera. How are they operating the TV camera? Why are there doors?
I'm gonna get to the world building, and I want to do that as a separate section. But let's get to that. But so the opening, we have an interesting thing happen. So he's doing his escape, and there's this one particular shot, you might remember it, where he's going up a big spiral, like you'd have in a
parking
garage.
Sure.
So I want you to fact check this on me. Does he in fact kill a bunch of other cars?
Yes, he does. He murders about 20 other cars. This movie is, and there's a sequence where that the American agent is being tortured and is eventually blown up. This is a G-rated movie, and there is a surprising amount of death in here.
Well, it's cartoon.
Yeah, and it's cars,
and they're cars.
But he's killing a lot of people, and the bad guys kill people.
Yeah.
And in fact, they say you almost never hear in a kid's movie, in a G-rated movie, you almost never hear the word kill.
Right.
It's like eliminate him or get rid of him.
Right.
They say kill Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that going, whoa, that's a little harsh.
Well, on the other hand, it's a Pixar film, so they're obviously using this opportunity to talk to kids about... No, they're not.
No, they're really not.
They're just
and again,
not.
Another impressive thing in this movie is the voice acting.
Most of it.
Miles Axelrod, the allegedly benevolent billionaire who's invented the organic fuel, that's Eddie Izzard.
I really wish he'd had like a wig.
I wish he had been able to be funny.
Well...
Because he wasn't funny. He wasn't supposed to be. He was basically supposed to be a straight character. And that's not what you do when you have Eddie Izzard.
No, but... And here's the thing, I'm skipping a little ahead, but we're not doing this in chronological order. So later on, when we have a voiceover of the villain, whose name we never do find out, when he's in his villain mode, to be fair.
Yeah, he's not even Mr. Big or the Big Cheese. He's just, I think somebody calls him the boss at one point, but that's it.
Yeah. Were we not supposed to know it was him when we hear that weird voice? It's like, well, it's Eddie Izzard.
We're not supposed to know, which basically even the 8-year-olds in the audience had figured it out in the second scene.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, it's Eddie Izzard. Or, Miles Axe, whatever his name is. It's like, oh, it's him. Oh, wait, are we not? I wasn't sure. And I guess we weren't supposed to know. It was like, oh, it's the mysterious villain who sounds like this. You mean sounds like that guy? No, he sounds totally different. Okay. Because I don't know. But going back to the death thing, apparently we see this scene of Finn McMissile blowing up. I don't know. To be fair, he's blowing up a bunch of gremlins and pacers. So really, who cares? Hey, we're all talking AMC, which is a car company that is long dead.
Yeah.
I actually loved, there was one Bond movie. It was A Man with a Golden Gun, where AMC was the official sponsor, so all of the cars in it are AMC cars. It's like, well, you better hurry up, because that thing's not going to last much longer.
Nope.
Anyway, they use this to establish the idea that cars, in fact, do die, so that when we get back to Radiator Springs and we have the poster of Hudson Hawk, or whatever his name was.
Doc Hudson, the Hudson Hornet.
Yeah, so we can all feel real sad. Because it's very sad. You felt sad, I'm sure, there, Max.
I was. The Hudson Hornet was one of the best characters in the first movie, because that's friggin' Paul Newman.
Yeah,
who was also a huge race car enthusiast
and driver, I believe.
It was great casting for him, and he's actually a really cool character.
But yeah, speaking of the voice acting, Owen Wilson.
Yes,
gotta say, about the most boring voice in the entire film.
Yeah, they take away his character in the first movie is mostly annoying. He undergoes a transformation,
becomes dull.
I'm afraid that's exactly right. This isn't like Woody in Toy Story, where he goes from self-centered and arrogant to being a sweet person. He goes from being self-centered and arrogant to having no personality at all.
And I just have to say, just not even from the character standpoint, because I didn't see the first film, and I honestly don't think I missed all that much.
Really.
Well, what I mean is I don't think that I'm missing any of the subtle...
nothing narrative, no.
Yeah, but what a dull performance. There's just nothing interesting about him. I could have done that part the way that he did it.
He is a little more interesting in the first movie, but again, it's because he actually has a character arc. It's also not much of one, but he has one, and he changes. In this, he doesn't do anything.
And to be fair, I am not casting a vote to make Owen Wilson more obnoxious, because I can't stand Owen Wilson.
No, but clearly the focus here is Mater, voiced by Larry the Cable Guy.
Speaking of irritating...
I mean,
is he not supposed to be irritating?
I couldn't tell you. He is a very popular stand-up. He's part of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, along with Jeff Foxworthy.
Right. Yeah, Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah. And I've watched some Larry the Cable Guy, and he can be funny. Yeah. He's not my go-to, but he can be funny. All three of those guys can be. Even Jeff Foxworthy can be funny.
Oh, Jeff Foxworthy can be hilarious. He can be not just the "you might be a redneck" bit, but I've heard. I had one of his albums, and he can be very funny. Larry the Cable Guy can be funny. This character is awful.
It is. Yeah. And it's not really a trivia thing. I'll come to this a little later, but we start off, there's this weird thing going on, and it's initially, they talk about foreign cars it feels like a America versus foreigners kind of thing. It's like, are we really going to do that? It's like, oh, he's Italian, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, great, I'm glad we're doing that. But then we leave America so we can do the Americans are allowed in obnoxious tourist things, which is all Mater.
Yeah.
And... like, he's kind of the protagonist of the film.
Oh, he's very much the protagonist. Oh, I would say he's absolutely the main character. But most of the story focuses on him.
So we're supposed to fall in love with him because he's stupid.
Well, the idea is he's supposed to be just plain folks. But yes, he is again, I was saying how unoriginal this is. Yeah. There are so many standard tropes in this. He's the embarrassing best friend that the big shot has to cart along with him and gets embarrassed by him out of Mater's... Mater is the fish out of water, and now McQueen is embarrassed by him. He's the classic ugly American, the whole when he's in Japan and he mistakes wasabi for pistachio ice cream.
Yeah, let's put a little tag in that, because I want to come back to the wasabi, believe it or not. Yeah, really? And
can there be every country they go to? It is one long string of stereotypes.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, we're in Japan. Oh look, vending machines. Oh look, tiny hotels. Oh look, anime. Oh look, my God, sumo wrestling. It's like, okay, come on. What other What other visual shortcuts do we have that can remind people that we're in Japan?
That's a really good point, because the weirdest part about that is that later on, Pixar will basically reach out and not only embrace other cultures, but do entire films that are kind of like love songs to these cultures. Yeah. And they do them really well.
They do.
So, in Disney too, it sort of goes back and forth.
But at this point, this is very American-centric.
Very, and I was a little embarrassed to watch this, because it's like... Max and I, we were in Britain together in 1985, and there was points where we pretended to be Canadian because the other Americans around us were really like that.
Yeah.
There was one kid we just called the Texan because he was from Texas somewhere, and I remember it was well after bedtime in the youth hostel, and there he was knocking on the window because, of course, they lock the place. And he was like, "Hey guys, you can let me in, right?" And I was like, "Oh dear God!" It's like, "Yeah, we are from Canada, yeah."
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we just start going, "Oh, come on in, eh? Oh, beauty, yeah, come on in."
Oh, yeah, because all of Canada talks like this, yeah.
Keep your voice down, you hoser.
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, it's very much that, and they do it in all the countries. It's the same when they go in Italy. It's like, I'm surprised there isn't pasta lining the streets,
and spaghetti trees.
when they're in France, of course they run into a mime car, and
well, and then we get gas toast. I also like this is one of the four plots. All right, so four plots. We've got Finn McMissile in the spy movie.
Yeah.
We've got Lightning McQueen doing his race thing, because that's what Lightning McQueen does.
Yeah, we got the strain on the friendship between Lightning and Mater.
Well, Mater, he's the third plot, right? Because I'm a spy, except he doesn't even know it. And then we have this whole, wow, wouldn't biofuel be a cool thing kind of plot? And that is such a mixed message. I don't even know what the point of that
seriously.
was.
The whole idea is, this guy's invented organic fuel. It's a renewable resource. It's biofuel. Except it doesn't actually work, except maybe it does.
Well, it does. You can easily make it blow up.
Yeah, which is true also of, gasoline.
Well, yeah. But here's the other thing, too. If you haven't seen the film, literally the plot is this biofuel, if you aim a laser beam at a car that's using this, it will cause the engine to explode. Apparently, you can have your engine explode, and this does not in any way actually kill you. You just get a new one, which I don't under... Yeah, we'll get to the world. I promise. We'll get to the world buildings. So there's 4 plots, and they're all vying for attention. It's like the most obnoxious smart kids in the class with their hand in the air all the time. No, pick me. Talk about me.
Yeah, the movie has no focus. It brushes over the characters. The main characters they focus on is Mater, and he's a stereotype. Yeah. I mean, he is the classic, the ugly American.
And we have like 4 different morals, I guess. So moral number 1, I guess spies are cool, but we knew that, so we didn't do it.
That's right? Not really a moral, but okay.
Number 2, biofuel is an idea somebody had, I guess, is the moral. Cause
might be good, might be bad, we don't know.
Explodes, whatever. Moral number 3, if you're the best, fastest race car in the world and you're American, you'll win. Because, yeah. And moral number 4... if you're annoying and stupid, it's not your fault, it's everyone else's.
Yeah, that's really kind of a disturbing take. Again, this is another classic trope of, oh no, you just have to be yourself. That's what McQueen has to realize about Mater. It's like, he's my friend, so I have to accept him as he is. Except then the idea is, so you don't actually have to adapt or learn other cultures or understand that not everywhere is America and not everywhere has the same customs and the same idea. You just have to stubbornly and rigidly do exactly what you would do at home everywhere else. This is not such a great message.
Growth is bad. Remember, you heard that here first. I've never been so confused by a moral since, I'm going to go all the way back to 1939's Wizard of Oz. Because every time I watch that film, which I enjoy, it's a favorite, it's fun, I totally see why it did as well as it did. It's iconic. And you get to that end point, and there's Dorothy going, basically, I learned that there's nothing better in this world than what's in my backyard, and I should never bother looking for anything else. Wait, what?
Yeah, there's nothing better than Dust Bowl, Kansas, with everything in black and white, with my teetotaling uncle and aunt and my dead parents, we assume. What could be better than this? Certainly not a beautiful, colorful land full of magic, whimsy, and people who want me to stay and be a princess. Yeah.
Have you ever made any sense out of the end of Wizard of Oz?
Again, it's the idea of, to a degree, it's the idea of appreciating what you have and knowing that, fantasy and the difference between fantasy and reality. But honestly, the ending is a little problematic nowadays with the idea of really, so never leave. Don't go anywhere. Stay right where you are.
Don't trust foreigners.
Don't trust foreigners.
Yeah.
Don't trust people with different skin colors.
Yeah,
like green.
So when McMissile, everybody's Irish in this film, whatever. When Speed Queen takes Mater aside or takes himself aside and was like, I just have to learn that that's the way he is and I should appreciate him. It's like, no, you should learn that if you won't want your friend to be hated by other people, maybe you should take a moment and explain things to him. There's a good moral. He doesn't mean he has to change who he is, but he needs to respect other people and their culture.
Yeah, you can't just go. You don't just go to another country and expect it to be America.
Yeah,
that is the classic of the and there's of course the great misunderstanding in the middle of it, which again is another trope.
Yeah. And because now, who's the dumb spy? Is it Mater? No, it's Finn McMissile. Really?
Yeah, seriously, it's like you don't realize that he actually is an idiot who his job is being a tow truck.
Yeah.
Now, that was one thing I do kind of like. Mater's thing, and they point this out, he's not completely incompetent. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of auto mechanics.
Right.
He knows a tremendous, because that's what he does. He tows and fixes old cars. So he knows all about them.
Except at the end of the movie, when he's suddenly smart and has figured out the entire plot.
Yes, when he figures out the villain plan, which up until that point, I even like the way he figures out who the villain is by the type of bolts that are used on the bomb. They say, all right, that's in keeping with his expertise. But then there's that ridiculous moment, again, another overused trope where he can suddenly do kung fu. You know?
Yeah, because he saw a friend of his
kung fu.
No, you don't. And then he gives inspirational speeches at the end, and I'm like...
Yes. That was one thing I did like. He tries to convince the lemons that he tries to talk them out of being bad, and they just go, nah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, good, because that was the worst inspirational speech I ever heard.
What I found weird is that one of the lemons was a Hugo, not a Yugo, as if we didn't know what it was. And I was like, why are you calling it a Hugo? Because, you know. One
of them was what was the German one? He was like a 3-wheeled car.
Yeah, he was actually a Janus, and it's it's a very small production car. I actually saw this in a YouTube video recently. The weirdest thing about the Janus is it literally has a door in the front, not on the sides, but in the front and in the back, and the passengers have to face backwards. And it's called Janus after the two-headed god.
Two-faced god. Yeah. Oh, all right.
Or Janus, depending on where you are. But yeah, so that's what he is. And some of the cars like that are an actual brand. The Gremlin and the Pacer are actual Gremlins and Pacers because, you know, who cares?
No, they're not like they're going to sue.
No, but yeah.
Also, you know, one thing you also noticed, and I noticed this movie that was different than the first. This movie is very much a sausage fest. There's one active female character.
Max,
I know that's not appropriate with cars.
Tailpipe fest.
Oh, excuse me. Wait, no, that doesn't work. The female cars have tailpipes.
Really?
Yeah, actually, that brings up a question. Why do cars have men's rooms and women's rooms for bathrooms?
We're getting to the world building, I promise.
Yeah, right.
Couple things first. So, hey, yeah, we will, because we are totally going there. But hey, first, there's a couple of great puns, and I mean great puns. Did you see the one? Lasseter?
Yes, and the clock tower in London, which is Big Bentley.
But hey, the best, most subtle pun. This was really clever. So there's this one song montage, right?
Yeah.
And they play You Might Think by the Cars.
Cars?
But wait, it's so clever that it's not even the Cars version. It's a cover done by Weezer.
Sure, because Weezer's a...
Huh?
Wait, what does Weezer have to do with cars? Is there a kind of car called a Weezer?
I don't know. I remember hearing the song start, and it's like, I know the song. It's by the car. Oh, wait, that's not the Cars.
I thought they would at least make a joke about, like, Rico Carsick or something.
Well, speaking of Carsick, yeah. Did we get a pee joke in here? Yeah, we did. We got a car pee joke.
We did. Leaking oil.
And then we get bathroom humor because we get to see Mater with a bidet.
And they making fun of the high-tech Japanese toilets.
Now, to be fair, I don't think that's really so... Like, I don't think that a lot of people really understand how true that is. Japanese bathrooms are apparently a super technological... Technicolor wizard dream. Like, they do sing, they have dials, there's buttons, and yeah, it is a thing.
But do they have the 3 seashells?
They might. Like, I've seen some Japanese toilets, and quite honestly, I would that Japan is like the number one place I want to visit. I just may not go to the bathroom at all.
Well, you'll be fun to travel with.
Well, yeah. It's like I don't like the idea of a bidet. I remember when you and I first came across one in a bed and breakfast, and the best part was there was 3 of us at the time. Our friend Matt was there. Hey, Matt.
Yep. Hi, Matt.
And all of us went and used, thankfully, the bathroom separately, and all of us did the same thing. We all came out of the bathroom with this big question that we didn't want to ask anybody because we didn't
know what they were back then.
And finally, I don't remember which of us broached the subject, but it was basically like, do you know what that thing is. And we did the usual. It's like, is it a foot wash? Maybe it's a drinking fountain. I don't know.
It's too low. It's like, wait, the shape's all weird.
Yeah.
How did we finally find out?
I think we may have asked. Because at that thing, bidet, I think that the woman who owned the place, she said the word. I don't think any of us had ever heard of it before. And then when we found out how it worked, all of us were like, no.
Yeah.
You take a fire hose and you do what? Well, if you ever wonder what a bidet does, thankfully Cars 2 will tell you. So, yeah.
Did you catch, when they're in England, of course, we have to run into the Queen, because, when you're in England, everyone runs into the Queen.
Right.
Did you catch who was voicing her?
Mm-mm.
That's Vanessa Redgrave.
Wow. I hope
Oscar
they gave her...
winner Vanessa Redgrave has, I think, 3 lines in a Cars movie.
Well, maybe that's the way that they could make sure that there was some sort of Oscar nod for their film. Because we had an Oscar-winning actress in it. I hope they gave her a ton of money because, Vanessa Redgrave. But
yeah.
Hey, I'm thinking we might want to talk about the world building.
Okay.
So, I'm going to...
How do the Italian cars play a tuba? They don't have lips. Not real lips.
Yeah. There is so much to cover here. I have a blanket statement that kind of covers everything, but there's lots of specifics that I'm sure we'll talk about. This whole world, and this is a weird thing for Pixar, because world building, character design, prop design is one of their mainstays. That's one of the things.
Really good at it.
Yeah. And this entire world appears to have been designed with humans in mind.
Yeah. It doesn't look like a world that was built by vehicles, by cars. And, there's also sort of that spin-off subgenre, the Planes movie.
Right. And
as we see, all vehicles are sentient.
Right.
We see trains, planes, automobiles. Hey, that'd be a good name for a movie. We see all of them, cranes, all of these things are all sentient beings. But there are stairs in places.
Yeah.
Why would you... There are doors that are clearly human-sized. When they go to Notre Dame, you can see the human-sized doors on the front. Why do things have handles?
It's just like nothing in the Cars world is made... It doesn't look like a car could use it or even make it.
Again, I understand this is part of the joke. This is for it's a family movie, but that part I think is aimed at kids. It's like, well, wouldn't it be funny in the human world if cars were sentient? Now, if you really want to get disturbed,
here it comes. I knew this was coming.
You know where this is going.
I do.
There is a rather surprising amount of quote unquote research done on this online, and there's a pretty serious fan theory, the idea being the Cars world is sort of a post-apocalyptic human world. And there are actually human beings, but they are inside the cars. They're part of the car. They are the interior. That's why you never actually see inside any of the cars.
Yeah.
And there are some pretty horrific artists' renderings of what this would look like. Those I don't recommend you look up because...
Yeah, they don't tend not to be sitting in seats. They tend to be posed differently than
it's pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's the only thing that kind of makes that make sense.
Well, I saw one, too, where if you looked inside a car, it actually has guts.
Yeah.
Although which that doesn't make sense because we see under hoods and stuff. And
yeah, it doesn't. And obviously they don't have to eat anything. They can just they use gasoline.
Yeah. And you could sit there, anybody listening could sit there and go, this is a kid's movie. It's not. You're taking this part too seriously. You're asking too many questions. But here's the problem. This is what happens when you don't have a compelling story or particularly compelling characters or characters that annoy you out of the plot.
Right. You start nitpicking.
You start thinking because you have to entertain yourself because the movie ain't doing it, right? Mm. And you just look at things and it's like cars are literally built with no way to manipulate anything. And when they do have to do it, occasionally you'll get something that's like, oh, it's a foot pedal or a tire pedal. Okay, How did they make the tire pedal? They don't have hands. Occasionally you'll get something like the forklift. Okay, it's got a couple of forks and they flap up and down.
Sometimes it looks like they can use their fenders as appendages.
Kind of. But then, like, what about Speed Queen there? His fenders are built into the... He can't detach his. And what about the Italian car? One of his big things is like, oh, I'm fenderless, I'm sexy, or whatever. And I don't understand. It just visually does not make any sense. And, if you sit there and look at the way buildings are made, it's like, like you pointed out, why are there stairs? Why are there doors? Why isn't everything a ramp? Why there's one like the female spy whose name I can't remember because she's utterly uninteresting.
It's too bad because that was Emily Mortimer, who is a really good actress and has an adorable voice. That was again Holly Shiftwell.
Yeah, all right, that's
which
right.
was which was a play not just on the Bond name but also on from Austin Powers. There was a character Felicity Shagswell.
Yeah, or Holly Goodhead. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, again, this was a character, another boring or unoriginal trope. Oh, I'm just a lab, person. I'm not a field agent, but I always wanted to be one.
When I take my glasses off, I'm attractive, or whatever.
No, that's the thing. They do point out from the beginning that she's supposed to be a very attractive car, or whatever the hell model she is supposed to be.
Of course, she ends up the love interest of Mater.
Yeah. Talk about boxing way outside his weight.
I love him because he's so stupid.
yeah, it's like, oh wow, she's interested in him. Why?
And then this whole thing with dents, he's proud of his dents, and then she gets a dent. It's like, oh, I'm not buffing that out. That's too important to me. It's worth too much. It's like,
it's damaging the basic structural integrity of the car. It's gonna make it fall apart.
It's like, well, I broke my leg saving your life, so I'm never gonna get it fixed. Huh? There are very weird moral choices in this film.
Yeah, seriously.
But there's one, she cheats. So she's got gadgets. And there's literally one point where I guess the people making this film could not figure out a way a car could operate this piece of machinery. So her little gadget that pops out of her hubcap basically turns into a couple of fingers and operates the thing. And it's like, no.
And then eventually she can fly.
Sure. Well, I mean, Figgy McMissile does the flying and the boating thing, so I can kind of see that. And he can shoot like grappling lines out of every orifice. To be fair, Bond never did that. Although
no, hey, if Q had been able to get him on a table long enough, I'm sure he would have been able to.
Butt missile away. Yeah. So I really don't get it. Like, I don't understand how this world was approved from Pixar.
Yeah.
Right?
We're very good at world building.
And even Toy Story 1, we had a couple of questions. And to be fair, you were saying Toy Story 1 was original, except, when you brought up the part, it's like, we're not going to talk about the
Christmas toy.
We're not going to talk about it. But the toy world, they had at least a rule which made sense until they broke it, which was, we can't move when the kids see us. And as far as I remember, they only broke it for Sid. I don't think they ever do it again. And
no,
in fact,
I don't think they do.
They decided that this was a good idea. We should keep to it. And it becomes a point of conflict, which is fine, But, and the world, to be fair, in Toy Story is not particularly imaginative. Hey, it's a kid's house. But the way the toys work, the way the toys are designed, the way they interact with each other. Again, we talked about, I really love the way that... the space guy.
Oh, Buzz.
Buzz, thank you. Freaking names. It's always names. I love the way that Buzz, just without even stopping to think, just MacGyvers his way through things. It's clever. Mm-hmm. There's parts of the movie that are clever. There is nothing clever in this movie. Nothing.
Yeah, the world of Toy Story is integrated and it's internally consistent. It makes sense visually. It makes sense from a narrative point of view. Cars, there is this glaring discrepancy, and there's nothing to take your attention away from it. I think there was in the first movie, because quite honestly, they were smarter, because the whole thing takes place, or almost all of it takes place in two locations, a racetrack or out in this middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the only time I was wondering is at one point in the racetrack, I think I see stairs. I'm going, okay, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But... in this one, because they are going out of their way to show you all these different settings, all these different locations, it becomes more and more obvious, and the story, as you say, and the characters are less and less interesting. So you spend more time looking around and going, this world part doesn't make sense.
I have another question that's involved with this for you, Max. I'd like you to answer this for me. How do cars in this film, cars, capital C, cars, how do cars feel about pollution?
Yeah, that's a point, which also, there's another plot hole in there. At one point, someone knocks Mater out with gas.
Yeah.
Cars breathe?
Well, to be fair, they do
have
need
lungs?
Air. They do need air. They have to mix air and gas for them.
But they don't have blood chemistry. How do you knock them out?
I don't know. Why are their windshields eyeballs? Like, they're just, like, why is it glass? Like, why? I
have to say that I remember reading about that. That was actually a very specific choice by the animators. Traditionally, in animation, it's always the headlights that are the eyes in cars.
Traditionally.
No, it is. If you watch
it's a tradition.
It is. Look at Speed Buggy. Look at Wonder Bug.
Must we?
No. But big race today.
Zoom zoom.
It's usually, but they felt that if you put it in, if they made the windshields the eyes, because that's where you look. That's what you look at in a car.
Well, also, they don't have to answer that nasty burning question, what's inside?
That also is a good way to cover up the body horror that lurks within, the Cronenbergian world. But
this is how Brundlefly eats.
Oh, God.
So, really, why do cars have doors? Why?
That I don't know. That I really don't get.
Why are they shaped the way they are?
And we've seen them open the doors.
Yeah, why?
The doors open. They're not, why?
I don't understand. When I was a kid, doors were wings. That's how you flew, right?
No, sure.
That made sense.
Yeah.
The world building is a giant problem with this film. And again, if it had been the case where we had a really compelling, cool, fun story filled with compelling, cool, fun, non-obnoxious characters, we probably wouldn't have looked as far in as we did. But it's literally that. It's the Jenga, right? You start pulling one little stick, and soon enough, the whole thing just falls apart.
Yeah.
Or with me, you pull one stick, and the whole thing falls apart.
And by the way, why does the Pope, or in this case, the Pope-mobile, ride around in a Pope-mobile? It's my God, it's recursive reality. He's a Pope-mobile in a Pope-mobile. Is there another one in him?
Who shoots at the car? I don't know.
Which also brings up the case. There's a Pope? So the cars have a Catholic church?
Apparently,
because does this mean that, I don't know, Jesus Chrysler died for our sins?
Yeah. Actually, there was one name in here I did like. It did make me laugh. There was a commentator named Mel Dorado.
that was good.
Yeah, that's my level.
Wasn't there was one Mel Camino, too.
Was there? Oh, I missed Mel Camino.
Yep.
And to be fair, there's just something funny about the name Mel. There just is. But yeah, there's just too many questions, and thankfully, neither of us has to actually answer those questions.
Yeah, it's just an inconsistency, and it again, if it was a better movie, we wouldn't care.
Yeah,
but it isn't, and we do.
And I guess the only question we really have to answer is what we finally thought of this film, because even though we dented this film, we bashed it. We may think it works for families and kids. We may. Do you have any other points you'd like to bring up before we decide that?
I miss George Carlin as Fillmore, the VW bus.
Uh-huh.
He was fun. He didn't have a lot to do in the first movie, but it was so appropriate.
Wasn't it Tommy Chong this time?
No, it was, I forget the guy's name. He was nobody I'd heard of.
Okay.
And I like the fact that his front license plate is set up like it's a goatee.
Because we did get Cheech Marin.
We do get Cheech Marin. We don't get Jennifer Lewis again as his wife, Flo. But, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and how about that female protagonist, the girlfriend? She was certainly interesting, right?
Oh, yeah, she was. I keep forgetting from one sentence to the next that she was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sally, who was voiced by Bonnie Hunt, who was, again, a terrific actor and completely wasted in this movie. Either she didn't really want to do it, or she was only available for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Maybe it was like the Jennifer, what's her name, from Back to the Future. It's like, we're going to put you to sleep on this porch, and we'll be back to you at the end of movie 3, because she was busy. Yeah, I've got nothing else before we get to the end. That's about it. So, I would like to pause. The roundup. And then Max, what did you think of Cars? Had you seen this before?
I had seen it before. I saw it in the theater, because I will go and see every Pixar movie when it comes out.
I see. And what did you think then? Do you remember what you thought then?
Yes, I felt like I'd been punched in the nose. I figured that John Lasseter reached out through the screen and said, "Hey, you like the stuff I did before?" Pow! I was very disappointed. Again, visually, it's gorgeous. The animation is really good. The settings look wonderful. It just, all those pesky characters.
Who got in the way of a brilliant tale?
Yeah. I mean, again, even the cars, as cars, they look really good.
Yeah.
But honestly, the first movie I thought gave a great feel of speed and power, the way cars move, the way race cars move. I thought that was really interesting. And again, that one was a beautiful look at the Southwest, and it was a single location, and they just explored the hell out of it. This, I thought, was a complete waste of time. I guess kids would like it because, let's face it, a lot of the humor is kids-level humor. And a lot of stuff happens very quickly. It doesn't really slow down to think or actually have meaningful conversations or actual plot development at any point.
So wait, you're saying as long as it's fast, kids won't notice?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just colorful and bright. But I'm betting a lot of kids would look at it and go, "I want to see the first one again." Now, I've heard the third one is better. I haven't seen it yet. I probably will at some point, but
better than what?
Than the second one.
Oh,
yeah. But I think this was the first Pixar movie where I walked out of going, "Wow, this was actually bad." What about you? What do you think?
Well, I had not seen any Cars film.
Yep.
I have not seen first, second, third, none. No Cars films. Because when the preview came out for Cars, I was like, I'm not interested at all. Just don't care. No. And I have to say that my expectations were met. It's just, I will say this, from a marketing standpoint, I want a Finn McMistletoe. I think he's cool. I like the way he looks. To be fair, he is partially based on one of my favorite cars ever, which is not a very well-known car. It's a Volvo P1800. It was the car that Simon Templar drove in the Saint TV show.
Okay.
I really like that car, and I love the DB5, so it's like, okay, best of both worlds. It's Michael Caine. Michael Caine is one of those British actors that can get away with anything, and I'm looking at you, Jeremy Irons, and Anthony Hopkins, because if you have $5, apparently either of them will do anything.
Oh!
Animated...
Sir Anthony Hopkins, damn it.
And Sir Anthony Hopkins' ass in Beowulf. And no, I've still not got over that. Or Jeremy Irons in the D&D movie.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so, yeah, Deer and Deer.
Yes, yeah.
There's just no... I mean, I guess I understand why people like Mater, I guess. Except he's taken too far.
Yeah.
And the piece of trivia, I held this off to last. The piece of trivia I read, and this was from Larry the Cable Guy himself, is apparently after he saw the reviews, and his take was, people don't get it. This is actually a Mater dream movie. And it's never really canon. It's still not really canon, but the idea really is the only way this film works is if it's Mater's dream, because it's the only way he would succeed at any of the things he does.
That's an interesting point, actually.
The problem is, it doesn't really come off that way.
No, there's nothing to indicate that.
And if it had, I wonder it might actually have worked better. Right?
Maybe, although I hate those things where at the end, it was all a dream. It's all happening in a dream.
I do too, but it might have made for a more cohesive single plot. That being said, I would want to I hate to say this, I would want to have had Mater involved in more of the movie, because he's not in the first quarter at all. It's all the spy thing. And when he eventually is part of the spy thing, it's like, okay, well, I get this. Everyone wants to be a spy and they want to be cool and blah, 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 blah. But they also want to be obnoxious and stupid. But I honestly don't know anybody who is a huge fan of this film. I don't think it particularly works. I don't think it was the big Happy Meal toy of the season. And it's surprising from the people who brought us other things, especially with the heights that they will reach later on. I'm surprised that it is this bad. 39% on Rotten Tomatoes.
This was a serious misstep.
Yeah. Although people went to see it, it still made nearly $600 million.
But I wonder if what we were seeing was the cold hand of Disney in this one.
And, we didn't talk so much about this, and maybe we'll find out in one of the later films, because Lasseter, at one point, he when Disney buys Pixar, he jumps ship and becomes the head of Disney, and for a while, Disney films are the ones that get to be a little bit more interesting, but that's for another show.
Yeah. So, this one does not work.
No.
However, Mike is taking next week's as well.
I am.
I guess to make up for having to do this one.
Well, also so I don't get us stuck with all the bad ones.
I still don't see what the problem there is, but sure. So what are we watching next week?
So next week, I definitely want to tilt things in the 180 degrees, because that makes sense. I really want to go in the opposite direction. I want to go to a point where Pixar is in that mode where they're embracing other cultures to the point where there are no white people in this film at all. None. No white people. And I love this film. This is
to be fair, some of them are kind of pale.
In a way. But no. This is going back to when, because in this film, I don't know about you, I didn't cry in this Pixar film. Not once. Didn't even try. Picture Doc Hornet, whatever.
In Cars 2? No, not at all.
But this is a film, I tear up in this one. I really do. And
those are the ones that are good. The good Pixar ones are the ones that make me tear up.
Yeah. Although there's sometimes they're a little smug about it. And I'm looking right at you. It's like, we're going to do it early.
You bastards. It's like this. Hey, I bet we can make the audience cry in the first 10 minutes.
And you can. Yeah. But I love the performances in this film. I love the culture in this film. I know we're giving it away, but whatever. Next week, I would like to take a closer look at Coco.
Yes, the story of the famous hot drink.
No. And it's not a story about the kid either, because the film's not named after the kid. It's named after his great-grandmother. But next week, we are going to head south, where there will not be one single racial joke. It'll all be about embracing a culture. So next week, please embrace us with Coco.
Embrace us. Clutch us to your bosom. This has been a co-production of The Voice of Max and The Movie Wrench.